The court has granted me a default judgment. We're divorced. The house is mine. Good luck with the war. My name is Sergeant First Class Michael. I am 44 years old. And that was the text message I received from my wife, Lisa, while I was 7,000 miles from home, halfway through a 12-month deployment in a hostile territory. She thought she had me, trapped, isolated, and powerless to stop her as she stole my home, my children, and my life savings. She thought she had executed the perfect crime, using my service to my country as the ultimate weapon against me. She had no idea that my service also provided me with the ultimate shield, a powerful, obscure piece of federal law that not only protected me, but gave me the power to let her build her entire fantasy life on a foundation of lies, only so I could legally and systematically bulldoze it into the ground the moment I stepped back on American soil. For 20 years, the Army was my life, but my family was my purpose. Every deployment, every sacrifice, every missed birthday was for them. Lisa, my wife of 15 years, and our 2 kids, Emily and Josh. This last deployment was supposed to be the final one, a year-long hardship tour in a Dust Bowl hellhole. But the payout was our ticket to a new life, enough to pay off the mortgage, fund the kids' college, and allow me to finally take a desk job at the base back home. Just one more year, Mike, Lisa had said, her tears staining the collar of my uniform at the airfield. You go be a hero, and I'll hold down the fort. We can do this. I now know that as she was waving goodbye, she was already planning her own leave. The first 4 months were brutal, but routine. Long, grueling patrols in crushing heat, punctuated by brief, precious video calls home. Those calls were my lifeline. Lisa would show me the kids' report cards, tell me about their soccer games, and always end with, I love you, I miss you, hurry home safe. It was a perfect performance, because while she was telling me she missed me, she was already sleeping with another man in our bed. While she was telling me about our kids, she was also planning the complete demolition of my life. The shift was subtle at first. The calls became less frequent. Sorry, honey, fell asleep early. Kids had a late game, totally exhausted. I was too tired, too focused on keeping my men and myself alive, to see the red flags. I just kept telling myself, 8 more months, just 8 more months. Then, a week ago, the calls stopped completely. My texts were met with a chilling silence. I felt a heavy sense of unease. The text message that ended my marriage arrived at 3 in the morning, Dubai time. I had just gotten back from a brutal 20-hour shift. I saw the notification from her and felt a brief wave of relief. It was a picture, a selfie of her and a man I'd never seen before, his arm draped possessively around her shoulder. They were on a boat, smiling, looking very happy. Below it was the message. This is Jude. He's my soulmate. I've filed for divorce. I've sold the house. The money from our joint accounts has been moved. By the time you get this, it will all be done. You might want to find a place for you when you come back. I stared at the screen, my mind refusing to process it. Sold the house. Emptied the accounts? It was impossible. The panic that seized me was paralyzing. I was trapped, in a foreign country, with a contract I couldn't break, severed from my home, my family, and my finances in one clean, brutal stroke. She thought she had won. She thought I was helpless. She had made one critical, life-altering mistake. She had forgotten that I wasn't just a husband. I was a soldier, and the United States military protects its own. The next morning, I walked into the on-base JAG office, the legal nerve center of the military. I felt numb, defeated. I explained the situation to the captain, a lawyer in uniform. I showed him the texts. I expected sympathy, maybe some advice on how to fight this from overseas. I did not expect him to smile. He looked up from my phone, a slow predatory grin spreading across his face. Sergeant, he said, your wife has just made a catastrophic error. She thinks she's won a default judgment because you can't appear in court. She has absolutely no idea about the Service Members Civil Relief Act, SCRA. He leaned forward. She thinks she's won the battle, but she has just handed us the ammunition to win the war. We're not going to stop her divorce, Sergeant. We're going to let it happen. We're going to let her build a life on a foundation of sand. And then, the moment you get home, we are going to legally wash it all away." The captain explained the SCRA to me. It's a federal law designed to protect service members from being taken advantage of while they are on active duty. It allows any deployed soldier to place a stay on any civil court proceeding, like a divorce, effectively pausing it until they return. More importantly, if a spouse manages to sneak through a default judgment, as Lisa had clearly done, the SCRA gives the service member the right to have that judgment completely vacated, erased, upon their return, as if it never happened. "So, here's what we're going to do," the captain said, his mind already working like a battlefield commander's. "We are going to file a notice with the court, invoking your SCRA rights, but we are not going to serve it to her or her lawyer. We're going to let her believe her fraudulent divorce is final. We're going to let her sell the house. We're going to let her spend the money. We're going to give her enough rope to hang herself, and you, Sergeant, are going to document every single crime she commits along the way." I walked out of that JAG office a different man. The heartbroken victim was gone, replaced by a soldier with a mission. My new mission was to gather intelligence on the enemy, my own wife. I phoned my older sister, Brenda. I laid out the entire situation. Brenda, a forensic accountant and a woman with a spine of steel, replied in less than 5 minutes. "Stay strong, brother. I'm sure when you're done she would regret why she did what she did." Brenda became my stateside intelligence officer. Her first discovery was the identity of the new man, Jude. He wasn't some rich soulmate. He was a sleazy, recently divorced used car salesman, with a reputation around the base as a depend-a-hunter, a predator who specifically targeted the lonely spouses of deployed soldiers, charmed his way into their lives, and bled them dry. He had found his ultimate score in Lisa. A week later, Brenda sent me a package of documents that made my blood boil. Bank statements. Lisa had drained our joint account of over $300,000, our entire life savings. And she wasn't just paying bills. The statements were a roadmap of her betrayal. Lavish dinners, a down payment on a new sports car for Jude, a trip to Cancun. She was burning through my life's work, the money I had earned in the mud and the sand, to fund a fantasy life with her parasite lover. But buried in the credit card statement was a charge that gave us our next weapon. A charge for a high-end digital signature service, the very service she had likely used to forge my name on the house sale documents. This wasn't just infidelity. This was calculated criminal fraud. Upon looking at all that, I wanted to call her and scream at her. Instead, I sent her one simple text. "I can't believe you've done this, Lisa. I can't fight you from over here. Just be good to the kids." It was a performance designed to make her feel secure, to make her believe she had gotten away with it. Her reply was dripping with fake sympathy. "I'm so sorry, Mike. I really am. But we'll both be happier this way. I promise to take good care of the kids." But her actions told a different story. The messages I started getting from my daughter, Emily, were heartbreaking. "Dad, when are you coming home? Mommy's friend Jude is always here. He sleeps in your room now. I don't like him." My hands clenched into fists as I read those words. He was sleeping in my bed, playing father to my children, living in my house. The rage I felt was pure. I was boiling inside, like a volcano, but I channeled it. I saved every message, every screenshot. They were no longer just a father's heartbreak. They were evidence, ammunition for the reckoning to come. The next 6 months were the longest of my life. I focused on my mission, on my men, leading them with a detached professionalism. And every week, Brenda would send me an updated dossier. Photos of Jude driving my car. Social media posts of him and Lisa on vacation, using my money. Evidence of her selling my personal belongings, my tools, my hunting gear, my father's watch, in online marketplaces. She wasn't just replacing me. She was erasing me, liquidating my entire existence for cash. All the while, she believed her divorce was final, that the house was sold, that the money was hers. One thing that was not clear to her was that her entire life was a legal fiction, a fantasy world that existed only because I was allowing it to. 3 weeks before my deployment was scheduled to end, I received the official email, my return to home station date. I told no one, not my parents, not my friends, only Brenda and my lawyer. I arranged for my return flight to land not at the military base, but at the international airport in the next state over. There would be no welcome home party, no tearful reunion. My return was not a celebration. It was a counteroffensive, and it would begin with absolute surprise. The day before I flew out, Brenda sent me one last email. They're still in the house. They're throwing a new beginnings party this weekend. He's driving your truck. It's time to come home, Mike. It's time to end this. The flight home was surreal. For years, this flight was a moment of pure joy, of giddy anticipation. This time, it was a silent, 14-hour journey into the heart of a war zone of my own making. I landed, a ghost in civilian clothes, and met Brenda at a prearranged rental car office. She hugged me, a fierce, protective embrace. "Are you ready for this?" she asked, her eyes searching mine. "Yes," I said, my voice steady. "Let's go do this." We didn't drive to my house. We drove straight to my lawyer's office. I spent an hour signing documents, the final, notarized affidavits, the emergency motions, the restraining orders. My lawyer handed me a thick, sealed envelope. "This is the court order officially vacating her default judgment under the SCRA," he said. "As of this moment, in the eyes of the law, you are still married, and this is still your house. Everything she has done for the past 6 months is legally null and void." He handed me a second, thicker envelope. "And this," he said, "is your new divorce filing, citing adultery and felony fraud, along with the temporary restraining order that gives her and her boyfriend 20 minutes to vacate your property." I arrived at my own house at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. The street was lined with cars. Their new beginnings party was in full swing. I could hear music and laughter from inside. My music from my speakers in my house. I didn't knock. I didn't ring the doorbell. I pulled out my keys, slid one into the lock, and walked into my own home. The music stopped. The laughter died. 100 pairs of eyes turned to me. A ghost they thought was thousands of miles away. I saw her, Lisa, her face a mask of absolute, horrified shock. And beside her, wearing one of my favorite shirts, was Jude, his smug smile instantly evaporating. Lisa found her voice first, a panicked, stammering whisper. "Mike? What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be back for weeks." "Plans changed," I said, my voice dangerously calm as I walked into the center of the living room. I looked around at her new decorations, her new life, built on the ashes of mine. Jude, her parasite boyfriend, puffed out his chest, trying to play the man of the house. "Hey, buddy," he said, his voice a pathetic attempt at intimidation. "I think you need to leave. This is a private party." "You're right," I said, looking him dead in the eye. "It is a private party, in my private residence, and you are trespassing." Just then, as if on cue, a man in a crisp suit stepped in the door behind me. A professional process server Brenda had hired. "Lisa Spencer?" he asked, his voice booming through the silent room. Lisa, trembling, nodded. "You've been served," he said, handing her the first thick envelope. He then turned to Jude. "Jude Peterson?" Jude, confused, nodded. "You've been served as well." Lisa tore open the envelope, her hands shaking. She read the first line of the court order, the one that stated her divorce was vacated, null and void, as if it had never happened. I watched the color drain from her face. I saw the dawning, sickening realization in her eyes. Her entire victory, her entire new life, was a legal fiction, a dream that had just ended. "What is this?" she shrieked, turning on me. "You can't do this." "I didn't do it, Lisa," I said, my voice as cold as steel. "The United States Congress did it. It's called the Service Members Civil Relief Act, a federal law. It says you can't pull a fast one on a soldier while he's deployed fighting for his country. It says your fraudulent divorce is erased. And this," I said, gesturing to the second envelope, "is my divorce filing, citing adultery, felony fraud, and embezzlement." "Oh, and this," I said, pulling out a third document from my own pocket. Is a temporary restraining order, signed by a judge this morning. That says he, I pointed at Jude, has 20 minutes to get his things and get off my property, or he will be arrested. The chaos that erupted was a thing of beauty. Lisa was screaming, crying, a pathetic broken mess. Jude, the tough guy boyfriend, looked like a terrified child. He started scrambling to gather his things, not even looking at Lisa. His only concern, now saving his own skin. Their guests, her new friends, started backing away, not wanting to be associated with the criminal implosion they were witnessing. In the end, it took them less than 10 minutes. Jude scurried out of my house. I stopped him at the door and pulled my shirt from his body. I am definitely not going to wear that cloth anymore, but I couldn't watch him leave my house with it. He threw his things into his cheap sports car, peeling away without a backward glance at the woman he had just ruined. Lisa was left standing in the wreckage of her party, of her life, sobbing, surrounded by the evidence of her betrayal. The divorce was brutal, but one-sided. Faced with indisputable evidence of felony fraud, adultery, and financial malfeasance, Lisa had no leverage, no power, no money. My lawyer was merciless. In the final settlement, I got everything. I got the house, full custody of the kids, my entire pension, and every penny of our savings that Brenda had so brilliantly rescued. Lisa walked away with nothing but her personal belongings, a mountain of legal debt, and a criminal record for the forgery, for which she received 2 years of probation. The last I heard, she was living in a small, rundown apartment on the other side of the state, working as a waitress. Her soulmate, Jude, was long gone. The military community is a small world, and the story of the dependa who tried to defraud a deployed soldier and got legally annihilated spread like wildfire. She was a pariah. I came home to a life that had been torched, but the foundations were still strong. I had my kids. I had my home. I had my honor. She had tried to destroy my life while I was trapped and helpless on the other side of the world. She underestimated the quiet, unbreakable resolve of a soldier who will stop at nothing to protect his home. She wanted to start a new life with my money. Now, she can try to start a new life with nothing at all.